take us through the security arrangements? I think a lot of places have been shut down.
Well, that's right. See, most of the places in Manipur has been shut down, and intensive measure of security arrangements has been put in place. And today, when we were reporting in front of Kangla Fort, the local police, the CRPF, the Rapid Action Force, the commandos, all of them were deployed over there, and round the clock checking was going on at every signal in Manipur itself, and continuous monitoring are being done as well. And all these areas has been declared as no drone flying zone, and intensive security arrangements are in place, because yesterday we saw the kind of incident that happened in Churachandpur, very close to the peace ground, and after police intervention the situation was normal, so that no untoward situation happens in Imphal as well. The security arrangements has been completely heightened across the state.
Thank you. Thank you, Sabyasachi. But you stay with me. Don't go away. I know it's a long day for you reporting from Imphal. And News9 will be covering the entire aspect of the Prime Minister's trip. Let me straight away go to Rajat. Rajat, your opening comments, the first trip of the Prime Minister in Manipur after the
Well, I
violence
think
broke out.
thank you for having me. It's been a
It's
long
always a
time
pleasure
since
to
I've
have
been
you
on
here,
your show.
Rajat.
But I believe that this is a very welcome visit of Prime Minister Modi to the state, and it is coming at at an optimal time when we had relative peace around both the valley and the hill area, and we wanted that conducive environment to be brought in before the Prime Minister could come in, and there onwards a new path for reconciliation, as well as building those bridges across the two communities, can be initiated. I believe he has waited for this moment, and I believe it was done through various calculations around what would be the optimal time. And thankfully, after the presidency was brought in, there have been very few events, and over the past few months there has been zero event, and I believe the environment is conducive, and I hope once the hand of friendship is extended between the two communities, a lasting peace, the foundation for a lasting peace can be laid during the Prime Minister's visit.
Okay. Suhas, your opening comments?
Well, I think the visit had to come at some point of time. The only issue is, I think, the president's rule should have been declared earlier. The situation, the fact that the situation has improved after the president's rules, was imposed, basically shows that had this center acted faster, then so many lives would not have been lost. But at some point in time, somewhere the prime minister had to take had to visit Manipur, whether it's today, tomorrow. And of course, people might question why he is coming after 28 months. I would say that if not after 28 months, then if you delay further, there will still be questions. I think we have to bear in mind that Manipur is not only an issue, which an internal issue. We have to keep in mind that in the neighboring country, the Myanmar, the government has collapsed. So there are geopolitical implications, and if the prime minister cannot keep the pot boiling in Manipur, it's very difficult. I don't think, the critical issues which divided the communities are anywhere nearer closer to being addressed, because they are still not sitting across the table. But somewhere I think it has to begun, and I think this is a nice beginning at this point of time.
Hijang, your opening comments, and then I'll get down to certain specific issues which I want to take up with all of you.
TK, there's a saying, it's always better late than never. The Prime Minister visits, some people might say it's late, but I would say it's always better late than never. And his visit this time would be welcomed by the Kuki community with lots of happiness on the ground. And one interesting thing is, like, before this conflict, when he visited the state, he was visiting only in Far capital. But this time, what is more interesting is, like, he will be visiting in Far, at the same time he will also be visiting the people of the Kukis or community in Chursanpur, which also speak volume that he also has lots of concern for the people from both the side. And what is more interesting is, like, the children who are in this in the relief camp, who are uh, affected badly by this conflict, these children will be greeting the prime ministers in a form of songs, and they will also have interaction with the prime minister. So we are really, I mean, eagerly looking forward for his visit, and we are hopeful that his visit will also bring a kind of some kind of settlement between the two communities. And we are in fact happy, even though it's late.
Okay, but there's one important thing. Sabyasachi, you stay with me. Rajat, there's important thing. I think the center has been able to do two things, which I thought are important. The first thing center was able to do was to get a pact with the Sioux. A lot of hardline Meitei groups were opposed to it. They were saying, no pact with Sioux will take place, that's a no-go area. And the Sioux militants who were saying there has to be a separate administration, they said, well, okay, we recognize the Manipur's territorial integrity. I think that was the breakthrough that was reached, because those were the two really intangible, or I would say vertical positions, which were not getting aligned.
I think this is why, Kartikeyaji, negotiations are very hard. And both the parties had solidified their positions over the past 2 years to such an extent that any kind of breaking out of those solidified positions was seen as a personal loss on both the sides. And I think that, kudos to the center and the negotiators from the central government who've been able to at least start carving out certain space and creating that middle ground where both the communities can come out and meet. I know how hard it was for the Meiteis also to accept that, yes, the Sioux will go back to where things were a couple of years back, and the militants will again get into that Sioux arrangement. So, and similarly for the Cookies, they too felt that separate administration was something that they were very close to achieving. And going back on that point is something which is a sacrifice from both the sides, and this is what is needed. You require a creative negotiating process. How else would the middle road be made if both both the positions are not, both the communities are not ready to give something or give something towards building that peace? And I believe some peace is not just absence of violence. There is also some aspects of trust which together define what peace looks like. And I believe trust will begin when both the sides sacrifice something. And I think both the sides have shown maturity in sacrificing their core point of views and core positions. And I believe this lays a foundation, a strong foundation, that henceforth, I believe, after Prime Minister's visit, I'm sure he will give a lot of emotional appeal to both the sides to come walk across the bridge and meet somewhere in the middle. So I'm very, very hopeful on this visit.
But you see, these are the visuals. They're dated. This vandalism took place yesterday night in Chura Chandpur. So you have those unlawful elements who want to create problem even when there is some.
Yeah. Kartikeyaji, honestly, there are a lot of anti-national forces, foreign hand, all of that, which would not want normalcy. They, they genuinely believe that they can keep fomenting trouble in that state and keep, chipping off on our edges. And I believe our security agencies have one of the toughest tasks over the next 24 hours to ensure that no such peace is violated. And because, see, the public is ready to basically join hands and come together, but there will be actors, nefarious actors who have been controlled outside the border, within border. There are a lot of such elements who do not want peace back in that state. We have to be cautious and wary of those.
So how do you think that it will be a challenge, or do you think that in due course of time that may also come, that the travel that takes place between hill and the valley areas will become normal because there has been a freeze? The movement does not take place without security convoys.
I think it will take time, and I do not see the possibility of law and order situation improving in the sense that both communities could move around, people from the valley to the hills, or from people from the hills to the valley. I think it will take a couple of years.